Hi, this is Sujita. Welcome to the Focus.net JRF English Literature channel. Today we are going to see Geoffrey Chaucer, his life and his works. So his timeline is from 1346 to 1400. So about Chaucer, he is considered to be the father of English poetry. He is the first poet of national importance. He is also the first poet to be buried in Westminster Abbey. And throughout his lifetime, he is aided by Edward III, Richard II, and then Henry IV. You can divide Chaucer's career into three phases: French, Italian, and then English, because in the beginning stage he translated from French, and in the middle stage he translated from Italian works, and at the end he writes in English originally. He was also patroned by John of Gaunt, and the language he used is East Midland dialects. What about his life? He is the son of a wealthy London vintner, educated at Paul Cathedral School and at Inner Temple. He is a page to Elizabeth, Countess of Ulster, and to Prince Lionel. And in between 1368 and 1378, he went on a diplomatic mission to Europe, including Italy. And while he was there, he was exposed to the works of authors like Dante, Boccaccio, and Froissart. What are his works? In the early period, that is until 1370, he wrote translation of Romain de la Rose, the Book of Duchess, and in the middle period, that is until 1387, he wrote The House of Fame, The Parliament of Fowls, translation of Consolation of Philosophy, Troilus and Cresside, The Legend of Good Women. And in the later period, he wrote the Canterbury Tales. Let's see his work one by one. The Romance of the Rose. It's actually a fragmentary translation, it's not the complete work. Translation of French Romain de la Rose. It's a dream vision and allegory which played an important role in developing the medieval ideal of courtly love. So, the poem is about a dreamer. He visits a delightful garden in which he sees a rosebud, a beautiful rosebud, and he is pierced by one of Cupid's arrows while he was admiring the rosebud. With the aid and hindrance of various allegorical personification, he attempts to win the rosebud. He was hindered by many allegorical personifications that we see in the poem. But then in the end, he wins the rosebud. So that's what the poem is about. The next work is the Book of Duchess. So this is written on the death of Blanche. She is the wife of John of Gaunt in 1368. So this is also a dream vision with a long prologue written in octosyllabic couplets. So poet, this is about the poem. The poet, he is unable to sleep because of some depressions, and he is having some disturbance in his mind. So the narrator, he reads Ovid's story of Ceyx and Alcyone, and then he falls asleep reading that. So narrator, in his dream, he narrates the dream which he saw first, and then he wanders away from the hunting of the Emperor Octavian and comes upon a black knight. He meets a black knight in his dream who is lamenting about the loss of his lady. So this black knight is actually John of Gaunt and the lady is actually Blanche. So this black knight, he tells the dreamer about her death and with metaphor, and then he explains it clearly. So at this point, while he was explaining, the black knight was lamenting about his lady. The dream ends and the narrator, he awakes and determines to write the poem. So that The next work is The House of Fame. So it is also an unfinished poem in octosyllabic couplet. This is also a dream vision in which the narrator is transported to a temple of glass, temple which is made of glass, where he sees images of famous warriors and lovers. He then emerges into a desert and is carried off by an eagle, and the eagle dropped him next to a tower of ice, and the tower of ice is engraved with name of the famous, but it is melting and you can't read the name. He enters the castle of Beryl and sees fame. Fame is personified. She is a woman of indeterminates, varying height, who had numerous eyes, ears, and tongues. He watches the petitioners being indiscriminately awarded or else refused fame or notoriety, and then he understands that the arbitrary nature of fame. He then sees the house of rumor built of sticks and is guided into it by the eagle. The poem breaks off as he is approached by an imposing figure, and the poem it ends abruptly. So there is no end to the poem. He just ends it abruptly. The next work is Parliament of Fowls. It is written in rhyme royal between 1374 and 1381. So it is about the negotiation of marriage between Richard II and Anne of Bohemia and the Princess Mary of France, and even the poet's own marriage. So this is also a dream vision in which the narrator describes the Somnium Scipionis which he has been reading and falls asleep. So in the work Somnium Scipio, the Africanus appeared to the young Scipio in a dream and showed him heaven and the mysteries of the future. The Chaucerian dreamer is led by Africanus to a garden where he first visits the temple of Venus and then witnesses a congregation of birds before the god nature. The birds are having congregation, a meeting before god nature. So it's a Valentine's Day, and that's why they are having a congregation there. And they were gathered there to choose their mates. So there is a three male eagles. They claim upon the same female eagle and is contesting one another. So the god nature tells that the female eagle has the right to choose between the mates. So this poem contains elements of satire and the hierarchy of birds. In the poem, it reflects the distinctions of the social classes which was in this period. So the next work is Troilus and Cresside. It is actually a fully matured control of verse, narrative and characterization. It is modeled on Boccaccio's Il Filostroto, written in rhyme royal. And this poem is about a historical background of Trojan War. The Legend of Good Women. It is written in heroic couplets. It contains a prologue as well as 9 tales. So what is the theme of the poem? Betrayal of good women by wicked men. So he actually narrates the lives of some women who suffered or died as a result of their faithful love. The stories were drawn from Virgil and Ovid. So who are the ladies? Who are the women? Cleopatra, Thisbe, Dido, Hypsipyle and Medea, Lucrece, Ariadne, Philomela, Phyllis and Hypernestra. So these are the women who had been suffered or died as a result of their faithful love. So that's what the poem is about. So these are the other unimportant works. You just need to know the titles. Legend of Saint Cecilia, Palamon and Arcite, Treatise on the Astrolabe. So there is another very important work of Chaucer. I haven't included that in this video because we need another video to know about the poem. So that is Canterbury Tales. So I hope you have understand what I have taught you so far. We'll see Canterbury Tales in the next video. Until then, goodbye.